In today's video, I am going to be breaking down some of the top plays from the top rookies in the NBA so far this year. If you're looking for some great tips to improve your game, this is definitely the video that's going to help you out. Let's get down, let's check out these amazing highlights and how you could do the exact same thing. Okay, so in this first video, we're going to be looking at AlfredSengun. He is an absolutely fantastic center for, or at least forward in my opinion, for the Rockets. So here, when he receives that pass, as soon as he gets that pass, look at where he looks. He really quickly continues to look in this direction to make his defender think that he's about to do a dribble handoff with his teammate. However, with his peripheral vision, he can see that his defender is standing straight up and is not in a defensive stance, which then means he can turn really quickly, get his shoulders below his defenders. His defender's now off balance. We can see that because his shoulders line up with his butt to the ground and his shoulders are not over his knees or toes, which means that he's going to be super slow, and Alperen should be able to get past him with one dribble, which is what he does, and then he slams on two players. So when he makes this attack, he takes one dribble really quick, which gives him the ability to attack. Then he takes a second dribble, which in my opinion is the first attack dribble because this first one just sets it up. And then with that one dribble inside of the three-point line, he can get to the rim with two steps, 1, 2. And because he has a full head of steam going towards the rim, there is nobody who's going to be able to stop him, and he's able to absolutely poster two players. In this next clip, we see Franz Wagner right here. He is using a screen, and his hedge man is not playing strong defense. He's standing straight up and down, which means that his main defender really needs to fight over top of that screen to stay with him. However, when a player goes over top of a screen, you as the offensive player need to cut towards the rim super quickly, and when that happens, you can really get these hedging defenders out of position, and if you can get your shoulders below theirs, and then you can attack, watch that one dribble inside of the three-point line, you can absolutely poster multiple players, obviously if you can dunk. This was all set up mainly because when he's using that screen, his defender went over top, which means he needs to attack. He's faster than that hedging player, and then when he gets inside of that three-point line, only one single dribble, that's his gather step right there. He can take two more, 1, 2, and because those steps were super long, you really want to have long steps on your last two steps to the rim, and whether you can dunk or not, that is what will happen. Notice when he does come off of that screen and he gets that hedging player's shoulders are even behind his own butt, which means that he is not balanced, and you need to attack that player like there is no tomorrow. Keep that ball away from that main defender. Keep it above your shoulders if possible so that people like him cannot strip you. And then when you attack that rim, keep it away if you can. Here he does bring it down, but it's away from that defender, and these guys are nowhere close to being able to steal that. So he can bring that ball down just so that he can use that momentum when he brings that ball back up. The momentum from his shoulders, his lower back, his hips can really, when you engage those three muscles, when you're attacking that rim, you can really do a lot of magical things on defenders, namely a big poster dunk. So here we see Ayo Dosunmu, who gets that pass out to the corner where he is. Something that is very hard to see from this angle is he has an open lane because the player who is recovering too high. Whenever that happens, you need to be able to read that defense, watch that one dribble, 2 steps, and then he goes up for a massive poster. When you're receiving that pass, that kick out or that swing pass, and you have a player who's recovering super quick, that their momentum is going to take them way past you, or if they're recovering too high, as this defender is here, you need to get to that rim, and if you can sky up for a dunk like we see here, that's going to really benefit you. Here we have Scotty Barnes, one of my favorite players right now in the NBA. Here he basically fakes a dribble handoff. He has two defenders technically on him, However, what we see is essentially this guy screens for his main defender, which then means that he can fly by him. However, there is a reason why this was effective. At this point, this player is out of position. He is slightly tilted towards that right side. Scotty Barnes, is able to notice that, and then when he notices that, he gets his shoulders lower, and then he's able to use his off arm to be able to essentially keep that defender at bay, and then he's able to use... Now, in the NBA, when you're a powerful player, you have to remember that these players can use their hands to keep defenders at bay. You technically, if you get caught, can't technically do that at the high school level, but here he does make contact with that leg. If you can get away with that, you can do it. But if you find that you can't get away with that, it's the elbow that you need to use, not the hand. And then we see here he does make contact with his elbow, and he's able to take 2 steps after taking 1 dribble within the 3-point line, and he's able to sky up for that shot, that dunk. However, how does he do this? Well, guess what? He's a very powerful player. He's using a lot of shoulder, hip, and lower back strength to be able to do this. This is not exactly a proper, perfect footwork dunk, but he's got enough strength to still get up there. It also helps being 6'9". And then in this next clip, we see a very, very, very good rookie, Josh Giddy from down under, who is basically using essentially a staggered screen. Coming off of that staggered screen, that first screen that was set is rolling towards the basket. Now, this does help being a fairly large point guard, being fairly tall. However, he's able to whip that left-handed one-hand pass for that layup for that player. How he was able to see this, obviously, when you rewind it, you automatically know they've practiced this staggered screen away for Josh Giddy. However, Josh Giddy, because of his court vision, his ability to see over top of the defenders, that this pass is wide open. Being able to pass with one hand is a very good skill as long as you can actually do it properly. And what I mean by that is you can do these one-handed passes when the defender's hands are down. But if they are in your passing lanes, you still need to do pass fakes first before you do passes like this. But he's tall enough to see it, and he had no hands in the way. Now, Cade Cunningham is a perfect example as to what you can be if you're not a super quick player. If you've got good footwork and good fundamentals, you can really do a lot of damage. So here, when he puts that ball through his legs, he does a quick shoulder fake. He doesn't hop. A lot of players will hop, similar to an Iverson hop or an Iverson cross, where you'll do a little bit of a hop. He does more of a shoulder fake that really does get these defenders' shoulders away from being balanced. Then he's able to attack that middle with one dribble, and when he does, and he notices that that defender's shoulders are pointing the opposite way and gives him a clear top foot, he wants to spin off this, especially with a reaching hand. He wants to spin off this, and when he does, that's his last dribble there, that spin. He's got 2 steps, and you really want to create as much space as you can with those 2 steps. You can use your elbow to be able to do this as well. And when he does that, he's able to go up. Remember, being able to use both hands is also beneficial in this case. And he's able to finish with that left-handed layup, going very, very high off glass to be able to do so. The higher you go off the glass, the harder it is for these help side defenders to block your shot. And then there's players like Jaylen Green who are extremely good with these in and out jab crosses, high cross type moves to be able to get to the rim. What does he do here? Well, he does a quick in and out shoulder fake jab, I guess you could say. He didn't exactly jab towards that side. However, he did do that quick in and out, and then brought the ball super wide, turned his shoulders in that direction, which made that defender's shoulders turn in that direction, and then he crossed over, keeping his hand on top of that ball, protecting that high cross, or push cross, whatever you want to call it. And then because of that, he's able to take that last dribble, takes his 2 steps, and this player was out of position most of that time. Jaylen Green was able to see that, and he was able to capitalize getting to that rim with, guess what? A right-hand layup on the left side. You have to be able to finish with both hands on both sides of the basket. None of this left side only is left hand, right side only is right hand. You need to be able to finish with both on both sides. And then, of course, there's Davion Mitchell, who's just an absolute crazy man when it comes to handles and shooting and obviously defense. So here we have Davion Mitchell. He does a quick jab, and then he takes a quick dribble back, trying to keep this defender at bay to try and keep him guessing. That quick jab fake with a dribble step back really gets that defender at least slightly off balance. We see a flat foot touching the ground here, and from there he crosses through his legs. He keeps his hand above the top half of that ball so that now, and by the way, it's nice and wide away from his body to make it look like he's about to drive towards the basket. And then he does a quick, long step. Look how long that step really is. Snatches back, making that defender go back onto his heels and shifts his weight onto that off foot. And then he takes a quick crossover back. That's his gather right there. Feet are not on the ground, which means that the first foot on the ground is 0. That's 0, so he can still take 2 steps, and he goes 1 big step back, 2 technically steps back, and now he's created so much space between himself and his defender that there is no way that that defender is going to be able to block that shot. He also has a super quick release going up the middle of his body, and he actually releases that ball before his elbow is even straightened. That's one of the things that I personally like to do when I've got a defender on me so that I can get that ball off quickly. You're getting more wrist strength and using more leg strength to be able to get that shot off. Instead of using just leg strength, that wrist strength can really help you get that shot off if you have a close defender. I hope that this video helps you become a better basketball player. If it does, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.